Some journeys begin with a destination, others begin with a wrong turn. Beyond the last road sign stands Motel, Disco and Bob. Here memories check in, but secrets never leave. Welcome to Motel, Disco and Bob. Settle in, leave the outside world behind, and remember, not every guest gets to check out. Hotel, Disco and Bob. Episode 1. The Library.
Library ladies sing a song, doo-da, doo-da. Give me a book and I will read all night long, doo-da doo-da day.
Libraries are strange places. They can be full of different or perhaps interesting staff, customers and conversations. Also full of the world's lost, hiding from their life's worries. Not the usual bullshit. The kind of place people might use the word discombobulated. A word that I like. You very seldom hear it, but in the last week I heard it twice. Unusual. It's a word Susie Izzard might use. But that's a story for another time. Anyway, I had been half-heartedly tickling French with a feather on Duolingo. It was going well, but after 84 consecutive days, I realised my phone was dictating my life with notifications. I was like a dog on a lead, a dancing bear, a snake being charmed. The phone was acting like my parole officer. How long I had slept, how far I had walked, it was watching me. This stopped me dead in my tracks. This tail would wag the dog no lower. I deleted the apps. I covered my camera and microphone with black tape again. I didn't want Mr. Google selling my story to the feds. No more new lingo, no more counting steps. Was it paranoia again? Or was it freedom? Quick, close that motel door. I had recently learned to close the doors to stop the noise. Changed my thoughts quickly. Quebec. I had worked there before. I was working in a mining depot. People would always ask if I was a miner. I would say I was until I turned 16. Dumb smucks always took them a moment. While there I came up with a bit of a scam. I had worked on it for a while. Easy money in the skyrocket, with most bases covered. Good money too, and no tie required. It was good going for a while, but in the end I had to get out quickly. Too many people with their finger in the pie, and more wanted to join the party. All getting their sweaty palms greased, all taking a cut, all happy to go along with it, but I knew if anything went pear-shaped, I would take the full dairy. So I made the most of it while it was going good. But I rode out of town with my head held high just before it went full tits up. But that's for another time. Quebec. Beautiful, but cloaked in a terrible past. I like books. I had a whole wing in my motel just for books. 3-day road. I had read the book a long time ago, but it came back to me recently. I must have visited its room unknowingly. So I wanted to return to the wilds of Quebec. I don't know why. I did like the wild, remote beauty of North Quebec. It would be sink or swim. I would really have to want to come back to get back. Does that make sense? I hope that it does. It wouldn't be easy and require the will to return. I had found a town on a map. They spoke mostly French in northern Quebec. I had to tickle French with a different feather now. I had forgotten more French than I could remember. Scars in the brain were het for that. I had been planning on hitching up through New York State, crossing the border and on up to North Quebec. Maybe a one-way trip. Disappear for a while. The faculty would give up looking after a while, and I doubt North Quebec be high on the search list. You see, I was busted flat and broke. I used to be someone. But that story is for me. I don't want to talk about that at the moment. When on your knees with nothing else to give, your options increase. Nothing to do and all day to do it. True freedom is when you have nothing else to lose. And that was me. No baggage, nothing tying me down. Why not return? I had a brother and a sister, but they had given up a long time ago. They knew I attracted trouble, and they were right. They didn't know if I was alive or dead, and it wasn't keeping them awake none. She was a natural history scientist, a damn genius. He had written a couple of crappy film scripts, a real hot shot for his Hollywood cringe movies. They weren't baggage to me no more. Win-win, all round. They might ask if true freedom is sitting in a library hoping for a hot drink. Well, at the moment it was the best that I had. Never look a yellow-toothed scabby gift donkey in the mouth. I had been hard up before, but when we had been poor, we didn't know any better. But then I got to be quite comfortable. When I took the silver coins, I could go into shops and not worry too much about how much I would spend. I was used to having money in my back duke. As long as I was sensible, it was all good. You soon get used to being comfortable. Without realising, I realised it now. My wallet now has a big thick bundle of notes in it. The only problem was, they are the limited edition one-off Harry Hee-Haw note. You can't even buy a nod in the desert from a stranger with this currency. Not only that, I could not afford a rubber band to tie them up with. Even the moths had given up with their let in my wallet. Maybe the cockroaches could move in. Anyways, I was frequenting the library quite often these days. It was warm and dry, but importantly, it didn't cost a cold brass dime. Nobody knew that I was a nobody here, that I had lost it all. Nobody knew my story. Nobody cared, and that was the way I wanted it. I blended in with the books and nobody noticed my worn out threads and the holes in my shoes and my dark and broken dreams. I had counted all the tables and chairs in all the rooms. Just a stupid ass thing that I always do. In cafes, cinemas, buses. I don't know why. Just something I have to do. The ladies running the library got a little suspicious of the time I was spending there. I had to throw them a line about going to work abroad and needing to brush up on my French. Not only did they buy it, they couldn't do enough to help. They helped me with getting a library card. I used a made-up name. I had used it before. Guy Strange. I don't know why. I also made up my address. I didn't want them to know that I was staying in a faculty downtown at the moment. You don't need to know about that. To them, I was a good guy, an inspiration. They were getting me books, supplying good old guy paper and pens. These dames were good. We got to speaking and shooting the breeze. No searching questions, just casual banter. I just blew smoke up their asses and they liked it. I think that helped to shorten their long grey days. Good people. Pretty too. I always had an eye for a pretty lady, no matter how low you get. My quack had been pretty in her day, but she wasn't any lady. She was tied up way too tight. If she stuck a lump of coal up her ass, in 3 weeks it would be a proper solid diamond, but it wouldn't smell of roses. I called her Nurse Ratchet. That really poked her in the eye every time. You could smell the rage. But I had already locked Nurse Ratchet away for the day. These library dames weren't looking for any complications. They didn't want to torture me either. Swell ladies. I liked their company. I even got a cup of deep black Joe on the odd occasion. And I needed it. But they didn't want my story, and I didn't want to give it. It might have broken them, but my story was for me. When I opened certain doors in my mind palace, it brought back the anger, the pain, the horror, the fear. Sherlock Holmes had a mind palace. Mine was more like a 2-bit mind motel. A backstreet dive with flickering lights and the sign outside falling down. I could work with it. I knew this motel. I knew what doors I could open and what ones to keep firmly under lock and key. My quack, Nurse Ratchet, as I called her, had taught me this, but only after making me open every door and talking about it in great detail. She sure was colder than a witch's tit and harder than a whore's heart. I hated that low-down dame. I shouldn't have shared that with you. That was for me and for no one else. She told me lots of bullshit, but the doors idea did work. My mind motel showed all my colours, the extremes of bright and dark. The colours can burn bright or flicker dimly. There are many rooms, some full of light, some dark, some very dark, some ringing with laughter that make me laugh out loud as I walk the streets, some open to the dark cries of the past. Some are empty, some are full. Some rooms are a work in progress. Some rooms I visit a lot. Others I don't want to ever open their doors again. That's why I shoot the breeze, but don't get too deep with the library dames, because I had recently noticed that sometimes when I retreat to my motel, I was in a black and white movie. I had a leather shoulder holder carrying cold steel that could dispense 6 slugs at the speed of sound. I had a 10 deck of smokes and a deep cough, sitting in an office downtown with my name on the frosted glass in the door, but the handles weren't polished brass. Still, I was somebody, but I was dressed like a gimp. Shirt, tie, shoes, the full 9 yards. I didn't like that. Would this be another door to close and lock? Increasingly, I was becoming Colonel Kurtz. He really was a somebody, but he crossed the line. He couldn't go back, stuck in the darkness of his making. He was now Lady Macbeth. He couldn't wash the blood from his hands, even in his sleep. Out damn spot. I didn't want to open doors and cross to Cambodia. This was the same Kurtz in the heart of darkness, trading ivory. It was so very dark indeed, and cold, so cold, even in the blistering humid heat. My heart of darkness could be my escape, stuck in the heart of darkness, but not now, not yet. My story is only for me. I will stare at French textbooks, the words saying not much to me. I forgot as soon as I learned, the scars in my head again. I will enjoy the warmth and the dry, forget the horror, ignore the horror. I am someone else within these books and these walls. I like who I am here. I haven't liked myself for a very long time. I can enjoy my discombobulation. I enjoyed the library, the books. The only thing that could get at me was the heavy brown wooden doors, with frosted windows and polished brass handles. It took me somewhere else. You've been listening to Mattel, Disco and Bob. If you enjoyed tonight's story, follow the podcast and share it with someone who loves mystery and suspense. You can also subscribe on Substack for new episodes, behind the scenes notes and exclusive content. Until next time, drive carefully. If you ever see the Mattel, Disco and Bob sign glowing in the darkness, you may already be too late.